Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
It's time to cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea, because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys.
Here we are for another fun episode with everybody. I think this is like episode 66 now?
I think more than that.
Are we?
Let me see.
Guys, what episode is it? You can see. We can't. 68!
Jeez.
So we've made it to the 68 episodes.
That kind of reminds me that I wanted to say thanks to everybody. Just all of our fans that have stuck around since the beginning, and then all of the new people that have come. We just really enjoy bringing this content to everybody, and we're really excited to be here every week.
Yeah, it's awesome to know that we kind of make impact in anyone else's life, that we've gotten a lot of messages about them, just feel like listening to us, they're here laughing with this, we're really relatable in a way, like we're just chill, normal people, and we're happy to talk to you guys, so.
Right, very excited.
Yeah. So,
speaking of,
we have so much random things on our mind, but we really have no outline for today's episode. We have, I feel like, both been just busy in our lives.
Yes.
That we don't have the joy and the luxury of trying to do too many, research topics today.
Right.
So we're just going to go off the cuff 100%.
Yes. I'm kind of nervous but excited, and just excited to be here.
I know. We were having really good energy and having a conversation, and then it got too juicy to where I was like, we need to talk about this on air.
Yeah, on the podcast. I was like, shut your mouth, Wendy.
Yeah, just for you guys.
Yeah.
So do you want to start with any news or personal stories? What are we thinking?
I know you had some news topics. Let's go over those really quick.
Okay, so I am always just perusing Mysterious Universe, as you do when you need paranormal stories in your life. And something that has been popping up a lot is conspiracy theories around the coronavirus. And this virus has been pretty intense and scary, and if you watched any of the news of the footage in China, people just getting hauled out of their homes, shoved into vans, and forced into hospitals and isolation, it's a terrifying thought. Mm-hmm. And now knowing we have this virus popping up all over around our borders here in the Pacific Northwest, and there's really no traces of to how it's even getting here.
Right.
It's just dark times.
Right.
But there's theories from all over the place. I should just have written stuff down. I love notes, but from what I can remember, there is a theory that the virus is from space, and there was a meteor that went down into China, basically around the time frame of the virus. And there's this NASA footage that people are saying that you can see some sort of craft leaving Earth, and it looks like their claim is that the aliens are leaving and getting the hell out of here. And they're saying, did the aliens do this to us, or are they just fleeing because they know this is super horrible?
Dang, maybe they thought if the planet needed to be saved, they had to wipe out some humans. Because that's kind of what happens, right, in our rotation of Earth. That some catastrophic event happens to kind of bring change about. So it takes out people, like the Great Flood.
Yeah, I mean,
like
the Earth
Ice Age
is very cyclical, and we always are talking about how the Earth is going to be too polluted for humans, and
right.
we've destroyed the Earth, but the Earth is really going to be fine. Mm-hmm. It's humans who aren't going to be fine.
Right.
So the Earth can totally reset at any time.
Yeah. Another
theory that isn't alien involved is there's different people who have made predictions about stuff happening in the year 2020. One in particular was a Buddhist monk who predicted this 100 years ago, according to the article. And I want to see if I can find any quotes. So it says, the year 2020, the year of all China will weep. The omens will be so bad that the new year will not be celebrated. Then the plague will come. It will come with a fury. And it's just all this darkness basically going on and on about not having enough rice and people going away in clouds of locusts. And so it's a little bit of a stretch, But, you know, people are desperate for answers, and there's all these theories. What are your thoughts on people kind of thinking it might also be government?
Right. Yeah, I guess I thought it was government fear-mongering. Like, the government, at least in the United States anyways, we're getting ready. This is an election year, so we're getting ready to elect president. That's kind of a big hubbubaloo. And so my initial thought was, in order to distract us from all the turmoil of what's going on with this election, they want us to look over here in this direction where be fearful that we could be taken out by a virus. They did the same thing when SARS came about with the swine flu. It was the same kind of thing. So I correlated that.
I do notice that if I don't watch the news, you know, I can blow it off. But there is something about the news that it is edited in such a way to fearmonger. 100%. I don't think it's exaggerating the situation and how horrible it is in China by any means, but it does really freak you out. And especially, we both have been sick lately. And that's not a fun thing to go through when there's some sort of crazy virus epidemic going on.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, this is it. I'm going to die.
Right?
Yeah.
The other news thing I had was kind of a little light fare compared to a mass-killing virus. Goes to Australia. And I guess this is also sad. Dang it! Mysterious Universe! So this is kind of in conjunction to the Australian fires.
Okay.
But that there's people who are talking about how it affected Bigfoot, which in Australia we know is Yahweh. And so I have a little bit of information. Dean Harrison, he's head of the Australian Yowie Research Organization. And so he has like all these little kind of facts about them. And the way he talks about it, it sounds like they're real. And I enjoy that because to us, we still are just like fighting for the validity of any of these statements and sightings. But he's just already like mapping it based on people's sightings. And he used to get a lot more sightings. I think it was like 10 a week. And ever since the fires, it's gone down like significantly. And he's assuming that they kind of fled to this certain area, like the edges of this coastal land, I believe. And that they've just been trying to lay low. And he also thinks that because no dead bodies of the Yahweh have been found during the fires, that he thinks either the Bigfoot are dragging the dead bodies and burying them, or because we've never ever found a cache of Bigfoot bones anywhere in the world, he's also a subscriber to the belief in the multiple like dimensions theory. So he thinks they bring the dead to the other dimensions and we'll never know. But he's just basically saying that no one's seeing them anymore as often as they used to, I should say. And so he just knows that they're being moved because of the fires. And so I find the way he talks about it to be really fascinating.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you think
thought that he's traveling around? I don't know. They could be going back to the other dimension just during this time, and then maybe they'll come back full force once everything starts regrowing, because eventually it will regrow. It happens here all the time in Oregon.
Yeah. So one fun thing, I think I should link it below, is there's actually an Australian Yowie research website. It'll have all of the sightings on the map detailed. And a lot of facts that they're like tracking about them. So according to their research, they're saying that they move at 43 miles per hour.
That is so fast.
Yeah.
Like, is that them running?
That's their top speed.
Okay.
So yeah.
So running.
If there was a fire, I guess that's how fast they could get out. And according to him, he doesn't think that they would have stuck around, that they would have some sort of sense to know that the fire was coming and would have gotten out before other types of animals. So a lot of researchers, as we've seen, do think that Bigfoot are highly intelligent.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of thought that all along, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to,
yeah.
because they just seem like our little best friends, like Chewbacca's, just
Right.
chilling, like, with so much, character, but who's to say? Like, I don't know, that's just my projections or my hopes for them.
Right.
I also have this fear that, what if they're just assholes and beasts and they will hurt us?
They're like real apes.
Yeah, who would be territorial
Yeah.
and not happy to just have me at their campfire.
Right.
So did you have any news?
I do. Yeah. So I just kind of, before this episode, was kind of going through and clearing my aura because I felt like I was having this great sickness, and then I was like, man, there's something wrong. I'm not getting better. So
it's a good time to cleanse your aura after being so sick.
Right. So I was cleansing, and while I was doing that, I realized that I was blocked in my heart chakra, and I was kind of able to go back in my memory and my stuff and realize that it's been blocked. Like, it just kind of came to me. I was like, I think it's been blocked since November. Well, let's go ahead and clear it completely out. So I was doing my arm motions. I do this thing where it almost looks like I'm flapping like a bird, and I'm just deep breathing. I've got my eyes closed, so it probably looks freaking hilarious.
And I mean, flapping like a bird sounds hilarious, but the way I'm imagining your arms is much more graceful.
Yeah, much more graceful.
Yeah.
My daughter said she could feel the energy as it was coming off of my hands, because it was like
a wave.
I was shooting energy out of my hands to try to clear my aura from every layer. So I was imagining myself kind of in this dome, and the dome was my aura. So I was just going through clearing, and as I was going, I got to this one section where I could feel the pain, and then the pain in my body started hurting. So my heart felt like it was burning on fire. I felt like I had this fire on my back, and as that was happening, I was like, oh yeah, it kind of feels like an arrow had been shot through my back and went through my heart and pierced my heart. And I was like, well, that usually would mean to me a sign of somebody who has wronged you. And so I was doing these deep breaths, like from my toes all the way into my body, and I was like, okay, I need to take that arrow out of my heart because it doesn't serve any purpose here in my life. And so I'm pushing it and pushing it and pushing it out, and I can feel it being pulled out of my back, like just feel it. And then it's there, like I can feel it in my mind's eye that it's back behind me there out of my body. And I'm like, okay, I need to send it somewhere. So I said return to sender, and it pierced me again.
So does that mean you were hurting your own self?
Exactly.
Oh my God, what a crazy lesson to learn.
Right. So I was like, okay, when did I wrong myself?
Mm-hmm.
So I started going back in my mind, and I was like, the last time I felt this pain was in November. I was making dinner with my family, and my daughter and I got in this stupid fight. And at that time, I can't remember for the life of me what we were arguing about, but I just felt like she was being ridiculous at the time. And I left my house in an anger. Like, I literally just stopped whatever we were doing. I didn't say anything to anybody, and I walked out the front door. And in that split second, I had this emotion that was like, I'm not going to go back to my family. And then I was like, no, that's ridiculous. You love your life. You're just having an argument with your daughter. This happens between, families. This happens. It'll get better. But I came back and just kept going about my life, and my daughter and I didn't talk about that incident. We didn't talk about it. So I think I just kind of stabbed myself in the back. And so then that made me want to talk to her about the incident. So we talked about the incident today to try to clear any air, any ill feelings, and I feel a lot better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you basically were doing self aura cleansing and Reiki work.
Yes, on myself. And the feeling where I can actually know where my aura is at and where it's being blocked, that's new for me. And I felt like that was an amazing thing. And I wish I could train everybody in the world to do that, because I think we would all be better if we could know ourselves.
Shoot, you so could. This could be something we could do on the side as
Yes.
internet classes or something.
Right. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Some sort of internet class for Reiki cleansing from afar?
Yeah, or even if you just want the service instead of being taught how to do it, you could do it for them.
I could do that for them.
Yeah. It's like we were meant to research about auras, because you getting that knowledge, I've seen it. You use it and utilize it, and because it's just like, what is it, the G.I. Joe old cartoon saying, the more you know kind of thing,
right?
It's just like you can now do all this work, and you can check in with it now because you know of its existence and you accept its existence.
Right.
How many of us are shut off to the idea of an aura? I would say it seems like, I want to study, survey 100 Americans, how many of them believe in an aura. I feel like the number would be low.
Right. Until they really thought about it.
Mm-hmm. It's like astrology. People just are like,
Right.
oh my God, speaking of astrology.
Oh, yes, I have something to talk about today. Pisces. That's us.
That's the call of the Pisces.
These emotional witches. I'm just going to say that.
Emotional bitches, for sure.
I can't believe I took notes on this because I'm a Pisces. I should know it all, right?
But still, it was kind of our goal this year to do one astrology sign a month
Yes.
and break it down. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that you were able to look into some info.
Yes, some info about our lives. Are you guys Pisces out there? Do you know what we're feeling? As we're recording this, we're just like totally in Mercury retrograde for us. You guys won't hear this until
Actually,
the retrograde is almost over.
isn't it coming out this week?
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're
I gotta
like
edit
so
it.
behind.
We're really behind, so I have to edit it now and get it out to you guys.
Like 3 days.
In 3 days. Woo! Whew, we got this. So, Pisces, that's all the birthdays from February 21st to March 20th. It's the 12th sign in the astrological house, right? 12th, yeah. And it's a symbol of water and feet. Basically, we're visionaries, we're romantics, we're mystics, we're dreamers, we're very creative healers, and free in nature, but kind of on the opposite side of that. You know, we're extremely emotional to all the extremes. So, like, we could be, when we're happy, we're like the happiest happy. When we're sad, we're the saddest sad. It's like we don't really have any in-betweens.
Yeah, I know it can be exhausting for others sometimes if they're not used to an emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
So I love my family. Thank you for always putting up with me.
That's right. That's right. And that little symbol, it's the 2 fishes swimming in opposite directions, and that is to represent the dual personality of extremes, like I was talking about. And it's ruled by the planet Neptune. We are empathic at heart, which can be very difficult, especially from early teen years to late adult, but because we can constantly feel everybody else. So as that empathic nature, we're out there. Even you have that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like when you're at whatever you're at, even if it's just something benign like the grocery store, you can still feel everybody around you.
For sure. And like there's something about that empathetic nature is that as a Pisces and a water sign, I feel like there's this adaptability that we have. Sometimes I find myself morphing to try to suit the comfortability of the person I'm talking with. Like if I'm talking to a witch, which is rare, I'll get real witchy and really intimate and you'll know some things about my core. If I'm not talking to witchy people, I really scale it back and I'll try to make them more comfortable and not talk about that stuff. You know, I've been told by one of our cousins that there's something about my personality that makes other people feel safe. And I think it's that I can read them to know kind of how to like play off of that in a sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So empathy is something you can really soak in like a sponge, and it can be detrimental. But I've worked a lot on like having barriers and shields,
Which is great.
yeah, especially for work, to be honest, because like I'm dealing with the public now and they're just coming at me all day in lines.
Right.
And so it's just like you gotta be prepared for any kind of mood coming up to you and not let it affect your mood, because it'll happen if you let it.
Right. I think one thing that really helps me in that situation is to realize that everybody has their own stance. And like in my line of work, I have people who call in and they're constantly just yelling. The first words out of their mouth are usually swear words. And, you know, I just have to take a step back and look at them as individual people and say, well, this is how they're responding to what's in their environment. They might not be meditators. They might not be, you know.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I don't feel like half the world is aware of mental health sometimes and what we need to do to like be on top of it.
Right, exactly.
And we're all fighting every day in our own ways, so I shouldn't be so judgmental. But there's just something about witches that they're channeled into this energy of like seeing the unseen. And we go through a lot of hard shit as witches, but it teaches us those hard lessons to be like really open.
Right. Basically,
And-
everybody should just be witches because, you know,
Basically,
we're better.
we should just take over the world. This is all we're trying to say.
Yeah, we're just saying, you know, open up your minds a little. Open up your hearts.
Yeah. But back to Pisces.
Yeah, back to Pisces. So, the thing about Pisces is sometimes they constantly need reassurance about everything.
I was definitely like that. I feel like I'm getting over that.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of trump that. I used to always be like, what do you guys think of dinner? Do you guys like my dinner? I need to know that you like my dinner, because if not, I'm never going to cook again. It's that extreme.
Oh, yeah. If you don't like it, I'm regret for making it. You don't deserve it, you piece of shit. Like,
yeah.
For sure. I've definitely felt that way.
So that's kind of, how we are. And we're also sympathetic and empathetic, a little bit selfish, right?
Oh, I'm totally selfish.
Yeah. Like, I can't help you right now because guess what? I'm taking a bath.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have this agenda.
Yeah, I tend to be like the main person that I focus on. Like, what does Sharon want? What does Sharon need?
Yeah. I can't deal with this right now because it's not what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is why I chose not to procreate, because I don't know. You have to be really selfish as a parent.
Right.
Selfless. Yeah. And that's not something, I don't know. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Or is anyone ever ready?
I still maintained some of my selfishness.
That's probably good for a mom to do.
Yeah. Because if I didn't, it's all consuming sometimes.
Yeah, because you're always got to probably worry about what does everyone need? What do you need?
Right. Even when I'm sick, they could be sick too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But the other thing about Pisces is that sometimes they can be the most giving, loving people you've ever met in your life. They will give you the shirt off their back. Sometimes even if it harms them.
Yeah.
Because they're a people pleaser.
For sure.
So you have to learn to not be that people pleaser, because it takes away from...
Because you can empathize with anyone's situation. I feel like when someone's doing bad decisions, it'll be like, well, it's because this. Oh, it's because that. They just need this.
Right.
Like, I can always reason while someone's being an asshole. Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
After I cry and get over my sensitive issues.
Right. Sometimes we have the ability to project our ideas onto other people and our expectations as well. Sorry, I feel like I'm calling myself out, so this is really hard to talk about.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe in aliens? You do now. Let me sell this to you.
I'm never brave enough to make an argument for anyone to believe in anything. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
But do you feel like you could convince anyone in a room to like believe in aliens? What would be your arguments?
My arguments? Okay. First of all the planets and all of the universe, think of how many planets are in this universe. How could we be so selfish to think that we were the only beings on any planet ever out of billions of universes?
Right, the
probability of it, the math of it. I can't do that math, but I'm just saying that.
Okay.
And that would be my argument, is that how could you not think that there's not life out there?
I think that's a great one to go with. And I feel like I've had people who say, okay, well, yeah, of course I believe they exist, but they aren't here. They've never come here. What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? Okay, so my argument would be, geez, that's a hard one.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Don't you think that the reason why life started on this planet was because that there was alien involvement? Like, in some way...
I just can't see Christians going for this.
No. Listen. There was a meteor that came to Earth that we came out of. And that was the seed that grew the first human. From a meteor. That was given to us from God. I have quotation marks around it. Or whatever you consider to be God. Whatever you are. Even if you're a scientist, you can believe that a meteor could come here and create life. So yeah, there's aliens on this planet. It's us. We're the aliens. So anybody who comes here, even from another planet now, even if they're fully grown on another planet and come here, they're just as alien as we are.
That's deep. I feel like most people who are surface level muggles and religious folk would be like, oh, no, I'm sorry. God made the world.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that that's a fun argument.
God is just another word for whatever I would believe in.
Exactly.
It's just a word.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of my whole thing.
It's just
just
all
names.
this unconditioning that has to be done for a lot of people, myself included. Like, just deconditioning to the word demon.
Right.
And hell.
Which you've done quite well, I have to say.
Yeah, but it took a lot of
But it took a
time.
while. Mm-hmm.
You know? And now I just kind of laugh at those little fairy tale notions.
Right.
It's like, we can come to our own conclusions about anything, but really at the end of the day, like you said, it's just a label for something greater than we can really understand.
Right. It's just a name that we give something. This table. The reason why it's called table is because we had to give it a name. It's just a thing.
Right.
You're a human. You're an angel. You're an alien. It's all the same.
Whoa.
Man, I really got off the Pisces topic, eh?
That was my fault.
No, it's fine. So what else? Oh, we really love nature and fantasy and art
Oh, fuck yeah.
and daydreaming.
100%.
Yeah. And that's what makes us good at being able to create our own reality. Because we can tap into that secret thing to make reality life.
I just resonate with that so much. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like all through public school, all I did was daydream all day, fantasizing, reading fantasy books, watching fantasy movies, being a nerd, going into all these escapist environments, and then finally becoming a witch. That's also very escapism. It's believing in cryptozoology, aliens. It's all this there's more than what we can see and what we can know. Like, I'm living in this fantasy life, okay?
Right. Same. I did choose your own adventure all the time as a child. Loved those. Still love them. If they had a witch choose your own adventure, I'd be reading it right now.
I bet online.
Probably.
I found this one that was like the never-ending story online, and you could like click on links, and you could submit your own, almost kind of like a wiki. And then it's like
Read that.
it real quickly became perverted for some people, and I got really into those who would be like, "You see a hot blonde woman, what do you do?"
I'm gonna hug her boobs.
Exactly. You just go to like your lower levels, like, well, I'll be, a pervert. Why not?
Right. I love that. I love it. That's basically all I had about Pisces. We're just loving, caring, very emotional
Weirdos. Spiritual AF.
Yeah.
Escapist as fuck.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that, like, there's something about your sign that I personally just sound like I have pride in all of those things. Like, I know I'm a weirdo, but I love being a weirdo. I know I'm emotional, but I think that's beautiful and powerful.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't change it. It was really hard to get a grasp on being a Pisces as a kid, but I think that witchcraft has really helped me be more in tune with it all.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, love it so much.
Cheers to all of our Pisces listeners.
I thought we'd talk about superstitions. Is that cool?
Of course. What are you thinking?
So, I wanted to talk about the Ankh.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what that is? It's kind of like that almost cross-looking thing, but not at the same time. It's got that oval thing at the top.
Yeah, so like a 3-pronged cross with the oval on top.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess that came from hieroglyphics.
Yeah, I knew it was Egyptian.
I guess I didn't realize that. Like all these years, I didn't really know where it came from.
Okay.
So, came from hieroglyphs. They used it to mean the key of life and immortality. And in the days of those early Egyptians, they wore the Ankh to extend their life. They thought if they wore that, they would live longer lives.
I wonder if it worked out for people.
Well, I don't know. I didn't find that. I also read that they would like to be buried with them sometimes as kind of part of the afterlife process so that they would have a very good, prosperous afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
So now I feel like nowadays we wear them just kind of as a piece of art.
Yeah, the symbols from Egypt are so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether you know they're Egyptian or not, like with the Ankh for you, you just know the symbol.
Right.
Like, there's so many that come to mind, like
Mm-hmm.
the Eye of Horus. We've got, like, the scarabs, the Egyptian cats, and all these little busts.
Right.
Egypt was on it, and, like, our Egyptian episode really opened my eyes to how magical they were. That was not something I ever heard about, to be honest, on the History Channel as a kid or in school as a kid. And that just means we didn't do that deep of a dive on the religious aspects, which I think is on purpose in American, institutions.
Yeah.
But what a fucking cool society. Like, I don't doubt that all that belief and that power made those symbols resonate and do what they were wishing. It's like the whole manifesting thing in tulpas. Like, everyone believing that it does this thing, it probably does do that thing.
Right. Exactly. So imagine it extends your life. My husband has an Ankh tattoo.
He's going to outlive you unless you
No.
get him. No?
Our genes will not allow me to die early.
That's true. The women in our life do go for miles.
Yeah.
You're like, no. I've seen the future, Sharon.
Nah, I'm going to be old with white, frizzy, long hair. All out to 1,000,000 miles, I'm sure of it.
I always wanted to be an older woman with, like, the long hair, but now that I've cut my hair short again, I'm kind of thinking I'd go for that, like, poof.
Oh, okay.
The old lady poof.
I got to have that long...
Crone energy.
Yeah. That's going to be me. I'm going to be in that purple velvet, like this cloth. I'm going to be in purple velvet, just a long robe with this crazy hair.
It's going to be good.
I love it.
By then, I want us to have property to do all of our outdoor rituals by the beach.
Red Tent Society.
And I want a maypole.
Yeah.
Fucking bonfires.
I love
Cousins
it.
Coven getaways.
Be like, Beltane at my house.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. So, any other superstitions that you wanted to talk about?
Sure. I came across the key. I mean, we love keys, right? I love old keys. I think they're amazing. I remember I used to play a lot with them as a child. And our grandmother actually used to take me to garage sales so that I could see if I could find keys. And every time I'd go to her house, she'd just pull out this jar that I had of all these keys.
Whoa!
Old keys. Just always been fascinated with them.
That's really cool. And now I know, like, that they're associated with, like, Hecate.
Right.
And that makes them kind of, like, I don't know, even more cool to me because I really like all her symbols and she's, like, a goddess of witchcraft and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a badass bitch. So the key symbolizes wisdom and maturity. And in tradition, you would give a key to your child who turned 21 to kind of represent that they are now an adult and they can have more responsibility in the family. And they can be trusted to kind of take care of your family home. And so I thought that was an interesting little tradition that they were just like, oh, you're an adult now, so here's a key to our house and you can stay here until you get married. That's kind of like the old adage or whatever.
Right. Until you can find someone to pay for your food.
Yeah.
You can stay here. Basically, if you were a woman.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that holding us down part.
Well, you know. I feel like I got a key at a young age by today's standards, but in the 90s, kids could hold it down. We would go run around the town by ourselves, like Stranger Things style, riding our bikes. You could have a key, let yourself in after school because your parents were working.
Yeah, I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had
I
my
had a
own
key
key.
around my neck.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So, I guess we were adults.
We were. Okay, what about garlic? I thought that was a good one too.
So I only know, like, really vampires and garlic.
Right. Just because it was supposed to ward, the strong, pungent smell would ward off evil spirits.
This is a protective thing.
And then in war times, they would eat it to give you strength. And so the soldiers, too, would also carry it in their pockets for protection. Or you could place it in your doorway to kind of, so that no evil spirits come to your house. Or place it, just like rosemary, you can do it in your garden, like near the gate. They used to keep it under children's pillows to protect children as they slept, so no evil spirits could bother them while they were sleeping.
That would suck to have to sleep with sticky ass clothes.
Did you imagine that? Yeah, you're like, here's my nightly garlic.
Yeah. To help me from the demons.
Yeah.
You know, I never got shit to help me from the demons as a kid. I was super afraid for some reason at night. Always afraid of, like, an intruder situation. And I don't know why that is, but, like, if there's a belief in tulpas, I'm surprised I didn't create a home invasion with my fear. Like, I should have manifested that. What did you have, like, a tulpa as a kid that you would have created because you always thought about it or were afraid of it?
I was always afraid that my mom was going to get shot. I would have nightmares that people would come to our house and just shoot her in front of me.
Wow.
Like I was afraid of losing her.
That's sad.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So that was mine.
I wonder if you saw something in the news or where did these fears come from?
I don't know.
These are moments where I feel like, is this past life regression? Like, I really think that our family had gone through some home invasion shit in a village
Maybe.
before, and so we all carry that with us now.
Right. Or it was something that happened, you know, to somebody else in our family line. Like, it was just kind of brought down. I know we have a cousin. She was always afraid of fire as a child, that their house would catch on fire. And she learned as an adult that that was because her grandmother had had a fire that as a child. And so she was then born with that fear.
So ancestral memories.
Right, like in our DNA.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think that knowing the source would empower you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do we unlock all this information?
Right. You're like, who had a home invasion in our family?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, who shot their mom? I mean, whose mom got shot? I don't remember that in our family.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, what else do I have? Just the horseshoe, I think.
The horseshoe, okay.
Yeah, so it's a symbol of good luck. It wards off evil, or wards off the evil eye. That's what I mean. And it was said because it was made of iron, then they would also ward off goblins.
Okay.
Yeah. And it looks just because goblins are kind of scared of the Celtic moon goddess. And so it kind of looks like the horseshoe kind of looks like a crescent, which the goblins and tricksters fear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as a crescent. Like, you could do, like, the whole crescent moons, putting it to the side. Because
Right.
I only ever see it, like, on the upright position.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's naive to say that, like, I'm down with goblins, because they're probably dicks. But, like, wouldn't it be fun to have goblins in your backyard?
I think it'd be fun. I think that they would be hilarious.
Like, kind of cute little tricksters.
Yeah, I kind of imagine them just running into each other sometimes and then falling on the ground and, like, making me laugh.
Like Hopkinsville goblins?
Uh-huh.
Like, didn't they come in the house and, like, terrify them or throw rocks at them or something? Or did they have, like, laser guns?
I think that they had little laser guns.
Right?
Yeah. And so then you're like, is that to protect them or to hurt me?
Yeah, so maybe I do want to ward away goblins.
I think it would be I guess when I'm thinking of them, I'm thinking of, like, I don't know what kids show it was, but there was a kids show that had little goblins and they were made out of felt almost. So, like,
It had to be a puppet show?
yeah, some sort of Jim Henson kind
Like
of
Fraggle
thing.
Rock or
Yeah,
something?
maybe it was that.
Okay.
So, like, that's what I
You're
picture.
thinking little Fraggles?
Yes. Love those little Fraggles. Their crazy hair.
Okay, so we're not going to use the horseshoes then, because we're
No.
into the goblins.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
into goblins.
I definitely am a evil eye user. I think I talked
Yeah.
about that before. I like to have the evil eye on the bracelets, the evil eye on, like, my car. And I love just buying that blue glass evil eye and thinking about putting it in any window. Like, it's just such a pretty image, and it also has, like, the protective aspects.
Oh, yeah.
So it wards off anything giving you the evil eye, you know. I don't know if it works as a return to sender, but you think because it's called an evil eye and it is an eye, it would
Right.
be like, bitch, if you come at me, I get you.
Uh-huh.
But I don't really know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's whatever you want to put power into it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any
I
other
like it.
symbols, or was that it?
That was all I had.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So I also see in this superstitious book that the scarab is a symbol to the Egyptians.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful amulet. The bright blue color is often used in Eastern countries to put off evil. So
Okay.
I guess that, once again, all these cool symbols are going back to Egypt.
Egypt. That's where it all began.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the superstitions began.
And the magic,
And the magic.
probably. Or one of the
I think
biggest...
magic might be older than that.
Right, but they had such a long reign, the Egyptian time period.
That's true.
And they were so fucking magical.
They were.
So I guess a lot of that stuff we just still see to this day.
Right.
Because I watched The Mummy, I think of just that scene where those scarabs are, like, digging under the skin and crawling up and through.
Oh, yeah.
So I was never, like, into scarab merch.
No, I think I remember watching something as a child, like a horror movie, where a scarab came out of the mouth.
Ugh.
And I've always been scared of them ever since.
Yeah, bugs
Mhm.
is really one of those fears that's kind of irrational that I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch bugs. I don't want to be around bugs.
Mhm.
So, like, whenever I think of the Indiana Jones series and how, like, each movie had, like, a room full of something.
Oh,
like,
right.
it was, like, the first one was a room full of snakes, Temple of Doom was a room full of bugs, and then the last one was a room full of rats.
Oh, yeah.
For me, the room full of bugs would be the worst. What about you?
I like snakes.
That's not the one that scares you.
Yeah, they
Same.
don't-
I mean,
yeah.
like a room full of them, sure, that would make me nervous, but I'm okay with snakes.
Right. It depends on what kind they were. If they weren't the kind that would hurt me, then
If I could just walk past them and they're not
Yeah.
biting me, cool.
yeah. Or if they wanted to hang out.
If it's cobras, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Rats, I don't like them.
Over bugs, what would you choose?
It's hard. It's a real hard one because rats, it's like it depends. I guess it would be just like the snakes. It would be depending on what type of rat they are.
Mm-hmm.
And bugs, the only thing I could deal with would be butterflies or moths. Like, I'm good with any bugs that fly, I guess.
Yeah, a room full of butterflies I've paid to go into.
Yeah, me too.
So, I guess there's just the pretty bugs or the cool ones.
And I'm good with ladybugs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Again, a pretty bug.
yeah.
I guess
and,
I'm
you know, those
rude.
little roly-polies with the shell on the
Yeah.
back? I love those.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Creepy crawly things.
Creepy
no.
crawly things like centipedes, disgusting. All those little feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's stop talking about it. I'm getting creeped out.
I really wanted to force you to choose which horror you had to
I
go through.
can't.
You can't! Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm tangenting because like I had just recently watched The Last Crusade.
Okay.
And there's something about like Harrison Ford, you know, as a kid he was so hot to me. I was really into Indiana Jones. I love his movies. But that being said, there's something about Indiana Jones that or Harrison Ford and his movies. He does this like John Wayne thing where he like grabs women and
yeah.
forces them to kiss him, or he berates them and yells at them, and that's the romance.
Right.
And like I loved it as a kid, and now as an adult woman, I'm like, this is fucked up.
Right.
This isn't how we should be romanced.
You're like, wait, I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, a guy who can't communicate, and then like we argue and then we fuck or something. I'm sorry, I'm feeling spicy today.
Let's leave out the arguing. Just get to that other stuff.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, are you a Blade Runner fan? It's one of my favorite movies.
Never seen it.
Okay, it's super iconic, I feel like, and one of those movies that's just, like, beautiful, but there's this, like, weird romance, and in the scene, he's, like, literally raping almost, because he's, like, forcing her again
God.
to just, like...
But did she want it?
She was saying, like, no, and trying to get out of it, and
Oh.
he's, like, bashing her against a window, and then they're just, like,
Yikes.
lovers and run away together, and it's all okay. So it's just, like, this weird idea of romance.
So she had like Stockholm syndrome almost, like something bad happened to her and she wanted to be with her predator.
Pretty much.
So,
I mean, maybe-
yikes, no thanks. I mean, I know that there are people who are into the bondage stuff and that's cool if it floats your boat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, or be,
when it's
yeah.
not something you are initiating or wanting.
It shouldn't be like the
No.
norm of the romance.
Right.
But I've been seeing that a lot in older movies where I'm just like noticing how bad they treat women and this
Yeah.
weird idea of romance that you should be fighting.
No. Romance and love should be super easy. It shouldn't be something that you have to fight for.
Like my favorite cartoon was Anastasia.
I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember the real life Anastasia story. Is it anything like that?
No, because Anastasia died in real life. So
Yeah.
in this version, she's alive and
Oh,
having
okay.
adventures in a musical. And
Jeez.
Rasputin is like a real magical guy, and he does like magic on her, and he's the villain. But her love story is the same, where like these two characters are bickering the whole movie, and I think it's so adorable and cute. And I'm like, what's wrong with me, Sharon? Why do you love it when there's like, I think it's that sexual tension, but sometimes it can translate, and then sometimes it goes too far.
Sexual tension.
Yeah.
I get that.
So don't let 80s movies define your romance expectations. Is
Exactly.
basically what I'm going on here, guys.
Exactly.
I don't even know how I brought us here.
We were talking about bugs.
Temple of Doom. That's what it was.
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. My favorite Indiana Jones movie.
I love it. Okay. Let's move on to... I kind of wanted to talk about metal magic. Is that cool?
Yeah, what is metal
Okay.
magic?
So it's basically magic with metals. Like hard metal bands? No.
Like alchemy?
Just kidding. Yeah, kind of like that, except for you're just using different metals. So let's talk about, like I put down brass. So brass is like, you can find brass like in buckles, different coins, old coins, and sometimes you can get a brass bell or something like that.
Yeah, I found a lot of brass at Goodwill, like brass candle holders and brass goblets. I used to use this brass bowl as a cauldron, and it was dangerous because it's not something you should be putting fire in.
Oh, I did not know that.
Like, it ended up leaving a black seared ring on my altar because it's just all brass, so it's got
Gotcha.
really hot, and then it's like burning the paint underneath.
Gotcha. So, as most things go, everything in magic kind of deals with a planet and an element, and so brass, you could use it to symbolize the sun. The element would be fire. It has the power to heal you, protect you. It could also be used in a spell to substitute for gold. So like in a money spell, you could substitute brass. I don't think that you would get the same effects. I think that gold is considered to be higher than brass in the magical world. But I think it's all up for interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what you want to put into it and what your intentions are. And so then I kind of went over gold. Gold is also the planet sun and element fire, and because gold and brass are so connected, they kind of do a lot of the same things. So like gold, it heals, it protects, it can be used for money, but you can also use it for a little bit more. So to help in wisdom spells or success spells or sexual dysfunction. So if you're a gentleman who is, or even a woman who is having sexual issues, you can use that too as you're aging to do some sort of spell where you spell the gold and then you rub it all over your body.
Huh. To like help with your libido,
Right.
in a sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. To bring out that love. And then you can also use it for sun gods, like sun god magic.
For sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, that gold color.
Makes me think of almost like the Mayans.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. A lot of their stuff is made out of gold when it comes to the statues.
Right. And all their
Yeah.
god art and
Mm-hmm. Goblets.
headpieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, what about iron and silver? So iron represents Mars and fire as well. It's great for moon magic because it's got that gray color. And using it in spells, you could do it for healing, grounding, strength, and protection. And the thing is that pure iron, they found, it doesn't actually originate from here. It comes from space on meteorites.
Excuse me?
Exactly.
What?
And therefore, the ancients believed that it was a gift from the gods. Because
That-
it came here.
Is so badass.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the magic of steel. It's from space.
From space.
From our alien ancestors.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So the universe created it and gave it to us. we
And
should
what
be
did man
thankful.
make? They made buildings, they made weapons.
Right. Right.
So it can,
Destructive forces.
and you know, I think constructive for the buildings. So a little bit
Sure.
of that, a little bit of this.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting what we did with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then silver actually represents the moon itself, and the element is water. It's a little bit softer, and I don't know if you've ever seen melted silver before, but it looks like silver water.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I wouldn't touch it because it's like super hot when it's in that.
Yeah.
But it is very beautiful. And in spells, you can use it for love, psychic powers, your dreams, like a dream spell, or you can use it for a specific invocation spell. And you can also use it for peace. And since silver represents the moon, it can also be used like as a representation for the moon goddess. So you can bring in your silver coins or silver candlesticks, whatever, or even a silver goblet or a silver bell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a little silver bell today. Thanks to you. You surprised me with this little pentagram bell
Yes.
from one of our listener shops, actually.
Yeah.
So, I love the idea of the dichotomy of the god and the goddess, and so it's always on my altar. I've talked about it many times. I'm always using gold and silver, but I've never actually used the real element. I've only used the color of gold and silver.
Gotcha.
I've had brass candle holders, but I haven't had like, oh, silver for the goddess and gold for the god, and like putting coins on the altar as maybe like offerings and to invoke that energy, that sounds like a really good idea.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Now I'm like, shit, I need some gold and silver.
Exactly. It is kind of hard to find because it's a little bit more expensive. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like I just want like a coin. And they're
Right.
probably, I don't even know if coins are even actual gold.
Right. And nowadays they're kind of all.
Like, what's the Sacagawea coin? I don't know.
Yeah, it's all intermixed with all these different elements.
Right.
And so now I feel like that's why thrift store shopping and antique shopping is good, because you may be able to find something from like the 1700s.
We need to go out.
Yeah.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. So I have one more metal magic, maybe one.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, just one. The meteorite.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't a planet because it's a meteorite, so it's not associated with any planet. It's on its own. And it just is a representation of the universe, and the element would be the spirit, so like that ether. And you'd use a meteorite in spells for astral projection or protection while you're astral projecting. And obviously it's literally a gift from the god because it came down, so from the universe, so you could use it in any sort of spell revolving around any spatial god, I suppose.
You know I'm obsessed with trying to leave my body, so...
I know. Exactly,
let's
that's
get
why
some-
I had to tell you.
Yeah.
I was like, Sharon will love this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna surround my bed with meteorites. I was gonna say, where's your you
my
have a meteorite.
Yeah, I do. I think I have it put away. I'm sorry.
We normally have it with us.
Yeah. I
Right
do
here.
have a gold coin here on my Enochian wheel.
Okay, so you're on it.
Yeah.
That's fun. I think that's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that anyone could cater to their own type of life, altar, work, or magic.
Yeah.
Just incorporating those elements.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I had two more things if you're still up for continuing talking.
Hell yeah.
Okay, good. So this week, as I had said earlier, I was pretty sick, and once I had kind of healed, I was just kind of taking time to meditate at night again because I could actually meditate, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to deep breathe. And my husband had already been asleep. I could hear him snoring. I could hear the dog snoring. My whole house was snoring. And I was just like, okay, I gotta let the sounds go. And I closed my eyes. And the second that I closed my eyes, I could see kind of like all of these women like dancing around. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna deep breathe and I'm just gonna succumb to whatever this is. Maybe I'm just dreaming. And then I see this beautiful goddess in my dream, and she comes up and she's got very dark skin. She's just beautiful, and she's wearing like a green dress, and she's got like, I don't know how to explain it. They're like sheer fabric just hanging off her. She's just gorgeous, and I can tell she's a goddess. And she's like, I was sent here to give you a wish. And so I told you I've been doing that Enochian magic. Sometimes with the Enochian magic, the other angels that I work with, they call in goddesses.
Ooh.
And so this was just her visiting me as a thanks for my magic that I had done, I feel like. And so I was asking for, I didn't know who she was at the time. She didn't really tell me. She just showed herself to me, and I sort of knew about her. I don't know how to explain that. I think it must be an empathic thing. But like I just knew about her when I looked at her. Like I knew she was a goddess of love. And so I was like, okay, she probably wants to know what it is in my life that I need. If she's willing to give me a gift, she was like, I don't have much time, so I need to know what you want, basically. She was telling me in this dream, tell me what it is that you want. And I was talking about, all I could think about was how much I wanted this podcast to grow, so that this is what we were doing. We were living our lives happily, giving classes to people and doing all the things that we talk about all the time that we want to do.
Yes.
So I was like, I want to finish school, I want to be a healer, I want to heal people from a distance, I want to do this, and I want Sharon and I to have all these great things. And she said, it is done. She snapped her fingers, went away. And then and I went in a deep sleep, woke up in the morning just feeling all this love. And I know it's amazing, right?
My jaw was dropped. I was like, excuse me?
It was just like, it is done. So I was like, okay, this is happening. So, but I wanted to know about her. I woke up in the morning, and thankfully you know, I showed you I got that bell. I also had gotten this beautiful tablecloth, and I realized that table that we have set out as an altar that we made together, kind of, it's really for her. It was for this goddess. And so I lit the candle, and I was just saying thanks to her, and I did all these wonderful things for her. Like I set out some shells. I just instinctively knew what she wanted. And so I was like, I need to know who she is. So I sat down and I was like, typing in Google, and I was like, African goddess of love, and this woman came up. I knew every culture had a goddess, but I didn't know it was going to be this specific goddess. And so here's what I learned about her.
Nice.
Her name is Oshun. Oshun. And she is, like I said, the African goddess of love and water. So I was like, so she's not only associated with love, but water. As a Pisces, that just made my heart fill up. I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. And I guess she came from the Yoruba, I apologize, I'm probably not saying this right, Yoruba culture. And that's kind of around the Nigerian area. And in Nigeria, they have a river named after her, Oshun. And so they made a sacred grove for her there. And so basically, I'm going to show you a picture of the grove, but it seriously looks like a woman's vagina.
Nice.
Yeah, it I was like,
how feminine.
Impressed.
Yeah.
Like, so impressed that this group not only worshipped her, but still keeps this grove that they made thousands and thousands of years ago. They keep it up to date all the time, and people flock there to go speak to this goddess.
Right, because we're so ingrained of God here in America. It still really means a lot, and surprises me when you know that there are people who are actively together as communities having places for goddesses.
Right.
It just feels so rare here.
Yeah.
But across the world, there are countries that are definitely down with that. And it's the majority. And, like, how powerful is that?
Yes.
So I'm excited to see this grow vagina.
No, I'm sorry, I forgot I had my phone on airplane mode, so it took me a minute to get in here. This is the grove. You are going to love it.
Whoa.
Just explain what you see there.
Okay, so to me, whoa, I like that. Is that a clit?
Yes, exactly. And those are probably her ovaries over on the side.
To me, it looks like a house that would be in bedrock, but it looks like a vagina roof with a little clit over the archway. So it's very bedrock to me.
And you can enter into the vagina. Basically, there's that hole where you can go through.
It's also very enchanted forest. So I'm down with this.
Right. And so what I found out about her that was so amazing is that she was considered to be the only female goddess directly descended from God himself. So in their culture, they believed that there were these 12 gods that came directly from God, and Oshun was the only female. The rest of them were all male. And so they thought of her as a motherly figure and a protector, and she protected the poor. She healed the sick, and she brought about music and dance, and she was a teacher of art, and she really governed over orphans. So those kids who didn't have a mother, she would take them in as her own. She was said to love shells, beads, gold, mirrors, and so they actually have these fans that they make called the abebe. I'm going to show you a picture of it. It's really amazing looking. I thought abebes were cool. They're like made out of this. Sometimes they would make them out of gold, but this is one of the ones that they would make. And so basically you can shake it around. It's an oval on a stick.
With some shells, right?
Yeah, so this one's made out of shells, but the old ones, they were pounded out in gold circles. And then they would put a mirror in the center. And they would have these shells on the outside of it. So when you shook the fan, it would make a noise. So they do these ceremonies where they're dancing around the fire and they're lighting the fire. And they're shaking these abebe fans.
It's really pretty.
And doing this specialized dance and singing to her and calling upon her to protect them and be their motherly overwatcher.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a magical tool that's an instrument and specific.
Right.
And a piece of art.
And a piece of art, yeah. So they said too with the dances that they would do for her, she would give them in return a growth for their crops. Maybe she would bring in a water surge so that they would have rain. She brought cooler temperatures for them. And she kind of was a go-between other gods. And so those other gods that descended from God. And so she would sometimes facilitate spells that the African culture would do, the Yoruba culture, I should say, would do. So they would do a specific magical dance, and then she would usher in another god to whatever god they needed. But she would be kind of the go-between.
That's awesome. She's like this gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was what I found about her. Just she's amazing.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
I like that because I'm like, I got mirrors, I got seashells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think a fan would be that horrible to make. They were just real simple, a circle on a stick.
The one you just showed me on Etsy was like $350.
Oh, dang.
I was like, damn. I mean, it was pretty though.
Yeah, I think we can make our own.
I'm like gonna go look now on Etsy and eBay.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
really
love
cool
it.
to get something authentic too.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very. I was gonna say prettiful. That's prettiful. Like pretty and beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I had one more thing. You know how we've been doing these games in the episodes? It's a magical quiz. What type of witch are you?
Okay.
Okay, so which of these tarot cards are you? The Fool, the Empress, the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot, Strength, the Hermit, Justice, the Moon, the Sun, or the World?
Ugh, that was so many.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, the Fool's really relatable, but I'm not gonna say yes. Empress, no.
Hierophant?
Hierophant, he is like a religious person, but
Right.
not like a witchy religious person, so no.
Lovers?
No.
Chariot?
Actually, the Lovers was my card of the year.
Yeah.
It was. Let's go with the Lovers.
Okay. What is your favorite time of year? Ostara, Beltane, Summer Solstice, Lugnasta, Mabon, Samhain, Yule, or Imbolc?
Samhain.
Yeah, of course. Okay. What's your favorite candle magic? Money candle magic, angels, seasonal, birthday, happiness, healing, fireworks, family candle, hoodoo, bonfire, or eternal flame?
Healing. Those are some fun options, though.
I know, right? Okay, so healing. What is your favorite crystal? Clear quartz, Herkimer. That's what Herkimer looks like.
Interesting.
Fire opal, moonstone, lapis lazuli, moss agate, obsidian, rose quartz, spirit fairy, quartz. That's all we got.
What does Spirit Fairy look like? That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Moonstone or clear quartz? I guess moonstone.
We're answering a lot of the same.
Okay.
Yeah. What is your familiar?
Should
Cat?
Oh, I was gonna say we should have done this at the same time on both of our phones.
Right. Cat, dog, elephant, bear, wolf, horse, bee, rabbit, swan, owl, turtle.
I'm conflicted between cat and dog. I'm gonna go with dog.
I thought you were going to say turtle for sure.
Oh.
Okay, dog. All right.
I guess because it didn't say sea turtle, right?
Yeah, it's just a turtle.
Right.
Yeah. Favorite ritual wear? Housewife.
That's a where? Housewife?
Pretty much look 50s housewife.
Oh, I mean, that's cute.
It said, and a little bit of pixie dust. That's what it was called. Come fly with me. Whatever this says, Siad Millet Filet. Valente? I don't know.
What? It's just like people wearing like brigadoon outfits?
Yeah. Don't let them tame you. So basically,
Some gothic look? Or that's a gypsy look?
the gypsy look.
Okay.
Love that voodoo you do. Throw me to the wolves and I'll return leading the pack.
It's very Nordic.
Freedom is the power to live as one wishes.
Sky-clad naked chick.
I am with Source.
She's just wearing like a robe.
Yeah. I have an herb for that.
Oh, okay.
Save the planet. Shopping is my magic. Finding great deals is my craft.
I'm gonna go with the chick who had the snake and the eyeshadow.
Okay. This one?
No.
No, the one. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Okay, love that voodoo you do. Okay, what is your favorite footwear? Boho sandals, moccasins, faux fur lined boots, classic witch boots, bread slippers,
Bread slippers.
toes in the sand, comfy scrunchy socks, garden boots, bedazzled shoes, a pair for all occasions, hiking boots.
What do the hiking boots look like? I'll go with those.
Okay. I did barefoot in the sand.
Mm.
What is your favorite food or drink? Spices? Just spices.
Right? What?
Earth's Bounty, which is like vegetables. Anything that you have to brew up. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so that means alcohol. Breakfast. Coffee. Sweets. Strawberry water. Opa! So anything Greek. Beer with beer and bacon, or anything with chocolate.
Oh, chocolate.
Okay. I figured you'd do something sweet.
Yeah, I was sweets until you said the word chocolate.
I think mine was fruit. Okay, you are the hoodoo witch.
What?
Yeah, you're a resourceful and crafty hoodoo witch. Ancestral worship, divination, natural healing, trance work, and folk medicine are all a part of your standard magical repertoire. Your spirituality and understanding of the supernatural realms are sources of empowerment. Read all about it.
Noise.
Yeah. Root work witch.
Yeah, I feel like that would be appropriation for me to like start claiming that title until I would really got some more training, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's things that I've observed about hoodoo, voodoo, but I've never like done rituals their way in a sense.
Right.
Like using the different symbols, but I think that it's really opened my eyes to ancestor work even more and opening doorways between us and the spirits and like working with spirits. And so like I would take that title.
It's
Sure,
so
why
beautiful.
not quiz? Yeah.
So beautiful. I love the thought that you've grown so much that you're ready to open those doors to that other realm and bring it into your magic.
For sure.
Because some people don't get there.
Yeah, I think there's just this whole new outlook. And it's really your fault to not be like as scared of spirits and just to realize that like it's just humans most likely or some sort of spirit or energy we're working with, and
Right.
you know what I mean?
It's not all negative.
Yeah.
So when I did the quiz, I got the 365 witch, which is a witch who does magic every day.
365, so just like
Yeah.
every day of the year.
Every day of the year.
Nice.
And I was like, well, basically, yeah. Everything I do now is basically magical.
Are you basically weaving it into your routines of every day?
Yeah. So if I'm riding the bus, if I'm walking, if I'm going to work, I'm magicking all day long usually.
I like that. So what to you stands out as magic on your commute?
So for me, because I take the city bus to work, I have to, as a empathic Pisces, kind of put my barrier up, because otherwise I'm going to feel everybody else's auras. And thanks to that, I'm serious. When you mentioned earlier that the aura episode really made me grow, it was like a missing piece of my puzzle.
And
like,
information.
Yeah, of information that I needed in order to see the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, in every situation, I can be walking down the road, and I actually have been getting to the point, especially since I'm taking the bus, is that I'm starting to feel other people's energy as they're walking by me, which is great because it's going to help me be a better healer, a better person. And so I'm feeling their energy as they're passing me, or my energy as I'm passing them, whichever way you want to think of it. And it's like our fingers are just touching, and I'm just knowing what's wrong with them. So like I might go up to a bus stop. My bus stop by my house is by a school, so there's lots of young children who ride the bus. And so it's kind of sad for me one day because I walked up and there were 3 people there. I was just kind of the last person that showed up. And one girl person I should say, I could just feel her sadness and that she was putting on a front almost.
Hmm.
And then one person, I felt like this immense anxiety, like nervous, and I could see later on, as the person got on the bus, they had to put money into the slot rather than using a prepaid card, and so I could tell then that that's what they were nervous about, getting on the bus
And like paying.
and paying.
That's me. Like when I'm waiting for the bus and I have coin or whatever, I'll like be like, is it there? Okay, it's there.
Right.
Is it there? Is it there? And I'm just like, calm down, woman.
Right.
So
right.
I've been that person.
Me too. I have too. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then the third person I could feel, and he was out a little bit further than I was than the other people. So he was just right on the edges probably of where my aura was. And I was like, I can kind of feel that he was feeling not nervous or anxious, but more chill and laid back. And so, and as he walked onto the bus, I could still see his persona that he showed to me was that he was just chill and laid back. So my thing now to prep is to make sure I kind of have a bubble around my aura so that it's encompassing, so that to try not to feel those people unless I want to feel those people.
Yeah.
And so that's the hard part, right?
Is filtering
Yeah.
and controlling at all times, basically.
Right. And it's like, dang, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
You know, by the end of the day, because that's all I've been doing all day is keeping a bubble around me.
For me, I've been just really trying to go back to grabbing my selenite wand and doing like an as above, so below kind of thing.
Nice.
And I'll just try to, I usually like in the moment will make a little rhyme that I literally can't even remember right now, but it'll always start with like as above, so below, just grabbing that crystal from the toes all the way up to the head, going back down, and just trying to be like, you're grounded, you're rooted, you're strong, no one can fuck with your energy type of thing.
Yeah.
Before I go to work, and grounding and centering is essentially all I'm doing, but trying to do it quick and boom, out the door.
I love that. That's great.
I think everyone should ground and center in some capacity, even if it's just verbally connecting with whatever you need to connect with to feel rooted and ready to go and handle your day.
Exactly.
Because it's so easy to get interrupted by
is.
other people's emotions.
Right. Because it could happen at any minute, at any section of your day.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what it is. It could be somebody you know or somebody you don't know.
Yeah. I was even trying to will myself to not be sick, and that did not work.
I know.
I was like, I am not sick, as you're just so congested and everything.
Right.
I can only do so much. You know, expectations versus reality with magic sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's really a good way to live, you know, being a 360.
A 365? Yeah, with
365
everything.
wish. Mm-hmm.
So that means when I'm cooking, which is true every time I'm cooking, I'm usually stirring it in a specific way and thinking of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so ingrained, I feel like it doesn't seem like I'm doing magic. It just seems like I'm being me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just breathing.
I think the effortless magic comes with more cleansing stuff. I think that's where my pulse is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the showers, I feel like that's a cleansing space to connect with water and the goddess energy. And
Absolutely.
I do eventually want to have like a bathroom altar again going on.
Mm-hmm.
I hate cooking, and if I could ever make that, I forgot I had makeup and I just rubbed my eye. Don't you guys hate that?
I hate that.
But I feel like if I could make cooking an enjoyable experience and then eventually someday a religious experience, it would be such a big step for me, because I do not enjoy the process of cooking. I have anxiety. It makes me annoyed. It makes me impatient.
Right. I'm cooking right now.
You're out your crock pot.
Yeah.
That's your cauldron.
I've got chili cooking in there, and when we're done, I'm going to heat up some meat and put it in there, so.
That is such a cauldron.
Yeah.
Your little
such
crock
a
pot.
cauldron. I love it.
That's the kind of cooking I need to start doing, is just like turning an appliance on and dumping ingredients, because that I can do.
Right. It's basically what I did. I just threw the beans in there, threw the spices in there, threw some vegetables in there. Then I just stirred it round and round and thought about things and
Infused it with that.
positive energy. Just pushed positive energy in there.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's
With some
exciting.
positive chili.
Positive chili. Fart out all the bad.
That's right. No more negative.
Yeah.
What else? Anything on your mind? Anything else?
I don't know. Do you think we should wrap up? I know we wanted to take next week off.
Oh, yes.
We wanted to let you guys know we're going to be partaking in the Women's March going on. I think it's going to be International Women's Day, March 8th.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's International Women's Day per se, because I think I've noticed that other cities are doing it all at different times.
Oh, okay.
So our local one happens to be March 8th, which I'm looking forward to. I love the thought of empowering women, we've been striving for years to be equal. And
It is March 8th.
Oh, it is March
Yay!
8th. Yay! Okay.
International Women's Day.
I love it.
But yeah, we're gonna go stand for women,
Yeah.
and it's something I believe so much is just like equality, and that men have kind of been treating me as objects my whole life since I was a little girl. Like, I've just always been kind of objectified or told what I had to do, or what was expected of my womb, or what was expected of my sexuality and how I use my sexuality, and like all this pressure put on women, and even just in the workforce, being overlooked for promotions, being overlooked for wages, just, not being looked at as the same as men.
Right.
And as a woman, I feel like the Women's March is about coming together, speaking up for ourselves, and for anyone who's not being treated equally. Like, equality for everyone.
Right. Everybody is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
No matter what you practice at home with your religion, no matter
Right.
what your gender,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to go by is, or non-gender. Like, we all just deserve to be here, and there's
Yeah.
room for everybody. And I feel like us getting equality isn't taking anything away from anybody. There's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I know we want to make signs. We're gonna go
Yes.
marching. We're gonna
Yeah.
I can't even talk. We're gonna go be proactive in the community, and I think as witches, that's a good thing to do.
It is.
I
It's a
don't do it
great
enough.
time. Yeah.
So
Really excited. This year, I feel like we've got a lot of good things. This is just the first step in all the things that we want to do. We're working on some good projects with the Coven that we can't wait to share with everybody. And
yeah,
so be looking for that stuff coming out. You'll probably see some social media posts, or on our next episode that we have in a couple of weeks, we'll be hopefully having some news for you.
and we'll have a March newsletter coming out this month as well that we're
Yes.
working on.
Yeah.
Some fun magics that we're gonna be doing.
Right. So if you haven't signed up, remember to go sign up. You can do that at our WordPress account, which is cousinscoven.home.blog, and click on that link. We've also got some EVPs and some past episodes, and I wrote a bunch of different blog posts if you're interested
And
in
poems.
reading. Yeah, and poems, and
Spells, I think.
yeah, I got a couple of spells on there, so some good information.
Definitely. We want to be bringing more content to you guys this year. We want to make the Cousins Coven more of a side hobby and into something that we can pour more of our time and energy into. If you're interested in supporting us in any kind of way, just look for some future things coming out that
Yes.
you can kind of help support us and help with the cost of even just like having this blog. It does cost us money to like have websites to store all this information, and
Right.
cost us all this time and energy, and we freaking love it. We
Yes.
want to put more into it and share that love with you guys.
I would love to, man, I just have all these great ideas. I know you do too. So we're just looking forward to sharing everything with you and having you guys along with us along the way. So, and thanks again for telling your friends about us. Thanks for just listening and being a part of our coven. I feel so empowered.
Yeah, together we stand, you guys. So I'm
Yes.
sure you can understand we'll be off air next Wednesday, but usually we'll be posting every Wednesday. And I think that's it. If you
Yeah,
want to mail
that's
us, you can hit us up on any of our socials. I know Wendy's really good at getting all of your messages. So no matter where you want to talk to us, interact with us, we'll be there for y'all.
That's right. So direct message, email, send those emails to cousinscoven2@gmail.com. And yeah, we just look forward to our further enjoyment together as a group.
Yeah. Here's to 2020, guys.
Here's to 2020. So may you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.